And welcome back to another episode of the Awfully Irish podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest. How about you introduce yourself?
I'm Dave Farina, probably better known as the creator of Professor Dave Explains.
Thanks for hopping on today, Dave. How you doing?
Yeah, happy to be here. Pretty good. How about you?
I'm not too bad now. Where are you?
Hmm.
Where are you located?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. That's a beautiful place, man. It's much sunnier than what's going
Hmm.
on here at the moment, which is just shite weather in Ireland.
Where are you at? Are you in Ireland or?
Yeah, I'm living in the middle of Ireland, where it's it's pretty
Got it.
damn wet. But so tell me what
To
exactly
be
do you do?
expected.
Like, what do you do? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, my primary focus these days is science communication, which is centered around my YouTube channel, Professor Dave Explains. So, most of what I do is academic tutorials. So, these are tutorials that are sort of aligned with curricula. So, they're for students to help them get through their classes, high school, undergraduate students. In a variety of subjects. So I started out doing like chemistry, biochemistry, biology, physics, math, and I'm now kind of growing into a lot of different topics. And as of late, I've also gotten into debunking. So I kind of target hoaxes and con men and make sort of longer pieces exposing their charlatanry. So that's the YouTube channel. I also just wrote a book. So first time author actually comes out tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh wow,
And I'm also a musician and husband and father and, all kinds of other things. So, yeah,
what a life. That's crazy, man.
it's okay. Yeah, it's not bad. Mhm.
So you have your YouTube channel, and why did you decide to make that then? Like, is the curriculum not good enough, or do you feel it could be kind of like where did the idea come from?
Yeah, I wasn't really trying to do any kind of commentary on like, the status of education. It was more just I was in a touring band at the time. This was 2014, and so we were on the road a lot, and the tours were doing well. They were paying for themselves, but we weren't making a lot of income to take home and pay rent and stuff. So we all thought we were in the van one day. We're like, we all need passive income. Everybody's got to figure out how to make some passive income. So I thought, well, I'll make a YouTube channel. I heard that you can make some money on YouTube. So I had just a year prior finished 4 years of teaching organic chemistry at this trade university. So I had all the lectures fresh in my mind. I thought, you know what? I'm going to deliver my OChem lectures to camera with a little whiteboard and markers, and I'll put those on YouTube, and we'll see what happens. And those were received really well by OChem students. So I decided to make a little more, make some Gen Chem with animations and green screen, and then from there, just people were like, "Oh, this is great! Like, do more." And I thought, "Okay, I'll do more," and it's gone, grown from there, and now is my primary focus, my entire income, and so yeah, it was a good idea to get that channel started, I guess.
Mm.
Mhm.
I think the whole concept of what you do is extremely well done. Like, kind of teaching it in a different way that is just textbook. Because I did chemistry for 2 years, and the only thing I really remember about doing chemistry was waking up during the class. It wasn't the most
Yeah.
exciting thing, in all fairness to it. And I think I actually remember watching one of your videos to help me study for a test, and I
Hmm. Hmm.
did considerably better than I did in the other test that I did in chemistry.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, in fairness, I don't think that my academic content is particularly riveting or fascinating either. I think it's just that what's really entertaining and satisfying is when you get it. It's hard when you don't get it, but when you do get it, you can kind of be more engaged. And so I think the reason that the content has been successful is that I sort of like I'm just telling you what's in your textbook, quite frankly. But what I'm doing is I'm tearing away the fluff, like the extra information that maybe is not as important, and I'm just delivering it to you as succinctly as possible, as simply as possible. Nice, clean aesthetic. You got some visuals to help deliver comprehension. So I'm trying to help everybody understand it as easily as possible. And once you understand it, then it's, arguably a little more fun, because you can sort of see what it's all about and apply it to things. And so that's really all I'm doing. It's definitely not like, edutainment and like really flashy and lots of jokes and so that's not it. But yeah, I think that people can enjoy the content. That's great, because that just it's a testament to how important it is to understand science and how fun it can be once you do have a grasp on it. So
Yeah, no, it can definitely be a lot to understand it, and I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't continue to do science after secondary school, which would be high school over there in the US. But I'm studying media, which I find
mm-hmm.
really fun and fascinating, and I'm enjoying it. But one thing about especially chemistry, I did chemistry and biology, is that I just couldn't grasp my head around chemistry for the life of me. Like I could do
Mm-hmm.
titrations and I could do the experiments because they were pretty easy to follow, but stuff like organic chemistry and like, man, over my head. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just
It's funny you should say that. I experienced the exact opposite. Like when I obviously I did 2 years of chemistry in high school. It was like chem and then AP chem, sophomore, junior year. So that was fine. And then in college, I thought maybe I'd major in chem. So I started out in freshman year. I took some analytical chemistry course like equilibrium and analysis or something. And it was, as you're saying, a lot of titrations, all these things. And I found that to be tremendously boring. And actually it was the other way around, that once I took OChem, as a sophomore, that's when I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like I actually really, really like this. So I know that typically the story is the other way around, as you've just reported, that OChem is the one that kind of scares people away from chemistry. But that was the course where I was like, oh, now I like this finally. So, but I guess that's why I teach it. So
yeah, I was just it must have been really fun for you then, because no, man, it wasn't for me. I know I definitely, in my school, I don't know what it's like around the rest of the country, but biology was definitely more popular as a subject than chemistry.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'd say that's because it's probably easier to understand. I mean, we were supposed to go to the zoo, that was included, and then it like didn't happen.
Yeah,
depressing.
Possibly a little less abstract. Yeah, it is a little difficult to learn kind of the rules of the molecular world. They're not intuitive, really. But I don't know that biology is that intuitive either. Got to learn a lot of different, strange anatomical aspects and cell stuff about cells, but a little less math. Although there's not a lot of math in chemistry either. I think physics definitely it's forgivable that people would run away from physics because of how much math is involved. And in fact, I was considering doing physics as well, and I just thought, it's a little too hard. Chemistry seems a little easier to me. So,
no, I did physics, very basic physics, for 3 years in secondary school, but like chemistry, didn't really get it. I didn't like it. I did other stuff. I took French instead of it. I'm good at French now. Not the best, but I know my couple of words. But like, I can understand why people would see it as maybe not the worst science, because physics is still very interesting. Just maybe the hardest to understand. And then, yeah, no, I can understand it. But let's get back to your YouTube. Where did the idea to start like your debunking videos? Where did that idea come from?
So I kind of got dragged into it. What happened was I was making an astronomy playlist, 30 something tutorials on basic like astronomy 101, which you learn freshman year undergrad. And I was trying to have a little bit of fun with it. So after the series was over, I had these two at the very end that I thought would be fun. One of them would be debunking flat Earth, and one of them would be debunking astrology. And what's funny is that I kind of thought that I'd get a lot more heat on the astrology one, that all these people that are into astrology would be coming and going, you jerk. Like, actually it was crickets on the astrology one, but the flat Earth one, for some reason, well, not for some, I mean, I know now, but that went to the top, the top search result for the flat Earth keyword the day after that I put it out. And so this other channel, this flat Earth channel, thought, oh, easy prey, and they took the video and they did this 3-hour live stream kind of dissecting it and making fun of it and thinking they were being really clever, and they were really, really rude to me in it. And I'm a pretty vindictive fellow, so I took their giant live stream and chopped it up and just made fun of them for 45 minutes, showing how everything they say is so unbelievably stupid. And to date, that's the highest, most viewed video on my channel. And so, because it was so fun, and it's so fun to kind of like, get back at those dudes, and because it did so well and people really wanted more content like that, I kind of got a little more into the debunking, and I got sick of flat Earth after a while, because there's just there's a limit to how much you can say about it. But it got me into debunking in general, which I then started doing other stuff. So like young Earth creationism and anti-vax and electric universe and all these other things. To the point where now I really enjoyed it, and I kind of I take it more seriously regarding what figures out there seem to have a lot of influence that are peddling lies, and try to systematically take them down, and hopefully get a lot of views to try to neutralize their influence on the public. I should thank the flat earthers, because now it's definitely not the primary thing I do, but it's growing in relevance on my channel and in my life, in terms of something that I think I can provide the public.
Yeah. We've had our experience with the flat earthers. Don't buy into it. I'm not a fan, especially with their reactions. I was kind of into it for 2 minutes, and then they were going about how much of an idiot I am. I'm like, that's just like, come on, not for that. But no, we've had our experience with them. Not the kindest people, even though they all claim to be, we're all very friendly. But you know how it is. I'd say of all people, you know how it is. I was checking out one of your videos earlier on, and they were still commenting shit on it. Like, crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you're a flat earther, that's your identity. That's all you've got in life, is this lie that makes you think you feel special. So that's what they do. They go, and my flat earth debunks are very, very popular. They get a lot of views, so they're easy targets. They're just, so you get the flat earth priests that are like, oh, I'll pretend to debunk this video, and then the people will say, ha, you debunked it. It's like, you didn't do anything. But and so it's tapered off a little bit, but yeah, every day I still get flat earthers commenting on my videos. So
yeah, and
what are you gonna do?
No, well, exactly. People say I see comments, people saying like like there's no consequences in believing in it, but it's one of those things. It's a gateway. If you start believing in that, then you're in the anti-vaxxers. You're in
anti-vax and COVID denial for sure. And now they're all moving on to QAnon, because flat Earth has been debunked. So many. It's dead. Like this incarnation of flat Earth is dead in the water. So most of them are kind of bailing and going to other things, and most of them are going to QAnon, and they're bringing their people with them, and so that's what they're doing now.
Yeah, but, I haven't looked into QAnon at all. I know people talk about it sometimes on the channel. I kind of just tend to. I don't even go into it, man. Just like,
no, I mean, I vaguely know what it is, but it's like, what would be the point of learning more about it? Like, it's just, there's nothing.
I got shit to be at. I got a college course to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, you got your YouTube channel. It's like, we don't have and like these people dedicate their lives to this.
I'm busy.
It's like like they fuck their family away, and it's crazy the lengths they'll go to think they're right.
Well, I mean, I think most of them are just con men. I mean, the prominent ones are just lying to. I mean, they don't have anything to do in life. Like, they don't have anything that they can do that's legitimate, and they figured out this way to just like, oh, if I have this live stream every once in a while, I'll get some super chats, and then like that's rent, and I don't have to get a job. I really think that's what it is for most of them. Like, they're not smart enough to do like a real con, where like real con men who like like a Deepak Chopra who's worth $150 million. They're not smart enough to do that, so they just do flat Earth, and they do a live stream, and they get $100, and they do that every couple days, and then there you go. That's their job, and it's better. I mean, it's better than going to work at CVS or something. Like, I get why they do that. But,
it thinks about like we had a guy on, and he was a flat earther, and basically the entire thing he came on for is to promote his app, which cost like $3 over there. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
this guy did like a degree in marketing, so he knows what he's at. That's all the
Yeah,
tricks and stuff.
for sure.
And you get the people that are, I don't want to say dumb because they're not dumb. They're just badly influenced. It's
No,
like,
flat earthers are dumb.
oh, fair enough.
They're pretty
Maybe.
dumb. But yeah, I mean, we all need to make money, and we all want to do as little work as possible to earn it. So I mean, that explains that.
And I'll get off flat earth now, but like I've seen loads of videos, especially during the start of the pandemic, of you've probably seen them as well, of people not wearing masks in shops, and they fucking screaming. Like, it's the funniest shit I've ever seen, man, because they just look like the world's biggest idiot. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, COVID has been a very interesting experience in terms of looking at science deniers and how they react to a global situation that we're all in. And I mean, there's definitely differing tiers, but I mean, the most ridiculous tier of all is people, I mean, like people who literally deny the germ theory of disease. Like there's a lot of people who are just saying viruses are not real. Like none of this is real. So we're not talking about like, if you want to have a conversation about like the origin of the novel coronavirus, like, is it natural, or like, did it escape containment from a lab, or like, was it even lab manufactured? Like, we can have that conversation, and we can look to, like, that's a conversation you can have that peppers in only hints of paranoia. But to go from there on the high end of the spectrum all the way down to viruses don't exist. I mean, how, like, you're in denial of reality at that point. It's shocking when people talk that way. So that's kind of what I aim for, is just, I want to just like sweep the basement floor and get rid of these absolute dumbest things that you could possibly believe, and I'm not going to touch the lab manufacture conspiracy because I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think it is. But I'm not really in a position to talk about it, so I better just not. I'll focus on the things that I know for sure are really wrong and dumb, and explain to people why they're wrong and dumb. So,
and it's amazing how politicized it's become, because, or yeah, no, it's incredible, because it's like, in America especially, it's like if you believe in coronavirus, suddenly you're leftist,
right.
it's, and then if you don't, it's like, oh, you're on the right side. It's crazy how like that. I don't understand that at all. But you guys are all about
Yeah.
politics over there. It is like, if you saw a
Yeah.
guy in Ireland who had like this guy for president on his car, he'd get probably robbed. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I do and I don't get it. Like, I don't know. It's I'm not. I don't know enough about like sociology and stuff. I mean, it's definitely bizarre, but it's just like, I mean, anything that is on a global scale requires responses from governing bodies. Like, it's just obvious. Like, a government is a body that legislates and like does things. Does things on the biggest scale. So it's like, when you have a global pandemic, like, yes, governments are going to react. And I don't know. It's just American politics in the past, for the past 30 years, but in particular, obviously in the past 4 or 5 years, is just like, I don't know, man. I don't know what is going on anymore. It's hard.
Especially with social media, and I do media, so I know a lot about like misinformation online and stuff, and it's just crazy the amount of shit that's put on the internet, and people take it at face value. Like,
yeah, it's the post-truth era, as they say. I mean, it's just everybody can invent their own reality and find media to corroborate it. That's where you get, I mean, it's like most rational people would look at something like QAnon and just go like, that's not real. Like, that's a joke, right? But people really believe it. It's like, you guys, did you know that people make things up on the internet? Did you know that there are lies on the internet? Like, I don't understand. I don't know how to
I think one of my
shake people
favorite
out of
was it's when Trump was running for president, and an article came out saying that the Pope endorsed him, and it just turns out that, and it had over like 1 million shares, and then it turned out it just wasn't true at all. But the thing is
made it
that
up.
people aren't going to see the second article saying it's not true. See, they're
Yep.
going to share that, and then it's like onto the next thing.
Yep, and then it's true for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's that. I to be honest, I think that this sort of general thing that we're talking about here is the number one problem facing the human species in the 21st century, because everything else like climate and pandemics and politics and all these other things are an offshoot of this singular problem that we can't seem to all figure out what's true. And we have the media landscape to blame for that. So we all thought the internet was going to be this great equalizer and help everybody understand what's true, and it's really mucked things up. I think it's a net positive overall, but we still have we have to figure this out soon, within a few decades, or I'm not really sure what's going to happen, because we can't mobilize. We cannot attack. We cannot address problems because half the population thinks it's not a real problem. We cannot progress as a species until we figure out how to all agree about what's real.
That is an extremely important point you bring up there, is that
Mm-hmm.
we can't agree on it, and it is basically the media's fault, because there is so much promotion on either side of, there is podcast news articles on why the coronavirus isn't real, and then you have podcasts and articles, you have loads of stuff on the other side saying this shit's real. And and it's also the thing with free speech as well, that people are allowed to do what they want, and so they can believe in this even if it's not real or it's not the truth. It's
yeah, and it's tough, and I mean, so then you get into censorship and stuff, and it's a weird conversation, because I do think private platforms are now starting to exercise their right to minimize certain forms of content which are lies, and then there's backlash because the public thinks it's a violation of free speech, and it's like, no, by you saying that, you're trying to violate the free speech of that entity. So the irony is hilarious. But free speech just means I don't think somebody should go to jail for saying coronavirus is fake. I don't think they should be imprisoned for saying that. But if YouTube has a right to deprioritize lies in the algorithm, you know what I mean? They're a private company. But it is a big problem. I mean, what ends up happening is, because you have this mountain of content on either side, to the uneducated viewer, it just looks like equals that are arguing, when in fact it's truth and lies. And so I don't know what the answer is here, because I'm not a fan of censorship or limiting free speech or anything like that, but we have to neutralize misinformation somehow. We have to make it less profitable to lie. I don't know what that looks like, because the problem is, when you have a certain sector of the population that wants to believe something, media will pop out of thin air to corroborate that narrative, because they'll get clicks, right? If somebody wants to believe something, they want to find the stuff that says what they want to be real, and they'll listen to that podcast, and they'll buy that thing, and they'll click that link, and they'll whatever. So it's not a mystery. That's why this stuff pops out of comes out of the woodworks to corroborate these narratives, because there's a lot of money to be made in media, of course.
Of course.
So obviously, I don't have anything even remotely resembling a solution to this problem, but I think at least we got to talk about it.
But I agree with you there that free speech should also have certain consequences, with demonetizing fake news websites, or that is a good idea. Or even, I don't know how they're going to sort out Facebook, because I don't even have it, and it's just a complete shit show on there. There's so much shit on it. Or even, I think Brazil, the biggest app they use is WhatsApp, and that's where they get all their fake news from. And they'll send links into group chats, and that'll go 100,000 ways over. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, that's all it is. We have to figure out how to make it less profitable to lie. So I don't really know. Yeah, check back with me in a decade, and maybe I'll have something better to say about it. But yeah,
I'll book you in. But
cool.
Before you go, let's talk about this book coming out tomorrow.
Sure.
What's it about?
So the book is called Is This Wi-Fi Organic? A Guide to Spotting Misleading Science Online. So it kind of takes the two main things I do in my channel. So I've got predominantly academic tutorials and then also the debunking content, sort of combines them. I'm targeting broad pseudoscientific trends that the public engages in. So things from really just innocent misunderstandings of like what certain words mean, like natural, synthetic, organic, toxin, energy theory, stuff like that, and just sort of like, okay, here's what they mean. Here's what some people think they mean. Here's why that's wrong. Here's why they think that. I like to kind of diagnose the anatomy of the confusion, right? There's this alternate connotation that's been painted onto this. That's why people think that. So now let's not think that. But doing this by taking really brief explanatory passages. So just here's the very most important stuff from like high school chemistry in 10 pages, and let's just get that out of the way, and then we can apply it to here's this word, and even here's this hoax, and here's this con man, and here's this alt health industry, this multi-billion-dollar industry that's profiting, exploiting chemophobia and to sell bogus supplements and healing treatments and things like this. So yeah. That's pretty much what it is. And that's my contribution, I would say, at least for right now, to trying to get public science literacy a little stronger.
Yeah. And where can people find the book if they would want to purchase it?
So pretty much everywhere. I can send you some links, Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, bookshop, book depository is the one where it's free shipping worldwide. And then it's an ebook and it's an audiobook. I did the narration myself. So it's a real book, where all the books are. So pretty excited. Yeah.
Well, man, I'll tell you first, I'm looking forward to reading it. I
Fantastic.
find what you do really interesting. And if people want to follow you, where can they find you?
So the big one is just the YouTube channel, Professor Dave Explains. Shoot me a subscribe, and then I'm on all the socials at Dave Explains. Although I don't want to disappoint, I'm a Zennial, so I'm kind of like that micro generation where like I have social media, but I don't do it. Like I don't care about it and I don't use it properly. But I'm on there, so yeah, Dave Explains on Instagram and Twitter and whatever.
Okay.
So, yep.
Dave, I want to thank you so much for coming on. This has been great.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
For those watching, sound for watching. Remember to keep safe, stay away from yourself, and good luck to you.
Top of the morning, lads and ladies. Support for the Awfully Irish podcast is now brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming.
Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels, and you're no longer need the look of the Irish with the ladies. Manscaped just launched in Ireland. We've gone years without using the right tools for the job. You can now be one of the first men in Ireland to experience their life-changing products.
Your balls will thank you.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code IrishPod at manscaped.com.
That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code IrishPod.